The general management plan is in its third year. We've had public meetings. We've had discussions with the state of Alabama. We've done some revisions. We're going to go back out with another set of public meetings, I think. This project's being headed by Amy Wershing and John Barrett from the office there in Atlanta, and they're doing a great job. They keep the things that need to be on track, including the superintendent, and I appreciate that. And I expect that to be done later this year. That's moving along just fine, I think. The legislation is something that we'll discuss in a little more detail out in the field, where you have an opportunity to see what's going on, see why the change in legislation is important to amend the boundary. And then also the Little River Canyon Center will probably be the majority of this briefing statement. About 3 years ago, the Alabama Department of Transportation contacted me about this bridge. They said that it was unsafe and needed to be replaced. Initially, I didn't think that was a good idea. I was pushing for, hey, repair the bridge, upgrade it, but let's not create a whole new disturbance and disruption to the area. They told me that the existing bridge, on a safety rating of 1 to 100, got a 7. Well, at that point I realized we were getting a new bridge. AlDOT, since then, we've met with them several times. They've agreed they're going to put in the new bridge immediately upstream from the existing bridge, as close as they can get it, so that the footprint is not spread out any more than it has to be. They will remove the old bridge when they're done. They're going to regrade the slopes to their original grade, and they're going to reseed with native species. So we're pretty happy with all of that. They're going to use a lot of good environmental protections in the river bottom. We've got threatened and endangered species here that they're going to take good care of. We've got assurances there. We've actually seen their plans on how they're going to take care of that stuff for minimal disruption in the riverbed. In addition, they're going to double the size of our existing parking lot and give us a deceleration lane. Along with Jacksonville State University, the Park Service has met with AlDOT, and AlDOT is going to put in a pedestrian lane. You'll be able to walk from the new Little River Canyon Center along a trail underneath the existing highway to the pedestrian lane and be able to sit on benches and overlook the falls, which I think is a wonderful safety thing. And so, although there's going to be some temporary disruption off and on over the next 2 years while this construction takes place, we think that the trade-offs are going to be worth it. I'm standing at Canyon View Overlook, looking across Wolf Creek Gap to Wolf Creek Overlook. These are two of the most significant viewpoints in Little River Canyon. From Wolf Creek Overlook, you can see for miles downstream, and from Canyon View Overlook, you can see for miles upstream. Visible from both of those places, both of those overlooks, is now a private residence. We have been fortunate on the west rim of the canyon to be able to protect the canyon view shed. The boundary goes from the canyon rim all the way over to Highway 176. On the east rim, the boundary is to the canyon rim only, and so everything on the east rim is private property. The legislation that's before Congress now would move that boundary back several hundred yards. It's not controversial. There's an East Rim homeowners group. They know about it. The local residents in Dekalb and Cherokee County are aware of it, and everyone pretty much favors it. They understand that there's no taking clause involved in the legislation, but it is something that may be of concern. There may be questions that come up, and it's something I wanted you to know about. We've had a relationship with Jacksonville State University for a very long time. The Little River Canyon Field Schools was a Jacksonville State concept where they use the resources of Little River Canyon as interpretive tools for their outdoor classrooms. That's not limited to just college students. We also do that for high school students, junior high, the general public. The programs cover a wide spectrum of things of interest to the public, everything from basket making to geology to frogs and herps, wildflower walks, all of those things. We sit down come together with Jacksonville State once a year, come up with a calendar of events, and then the university puts together a brochure. They do a website that gives all of the projects, all of the programs, and of course we have a link to that on our National Park Service website. You know, it was several years ago, Pete Conroy, the executive director of the EPIC office from Jacksonville, approached me and said that he had a grant from NASA to build an environmental and interpretive center that talked about environmental conditions and global warming, of all things, and wanted to know if we'd be interested. Well, we've been involved in the design for office space, for interpretive space. We've talked about museum exhibits with the university, and the building is almost completed. Now we're going to need a little help getting the lease through the GSA and NPS systems, and I'll be looking to the Atlanta office for a little assistance with that. But we think it's a great program. It's a LEED registered building. Once it's done, we think it'll be LEED certified at the silver level, and if we're lucky, it'll be certified at the gold level. There's a lot of innovative things that have been going on. It will, for the first time, give us an opportunity to do interpretation at a single spot rather than roving interpretation. You could come to Little River Canyon, spend several hours, and never have contact with a ranger because the rangers are at different overlooks than you happen to be stopping at on that particular visit. This time, when the center is done, you'll be able to come to the University Center, the Little River Canyon Center we're calling it, and find an interpreter, learn about Little River Canyon, see a film, look at exhibits, just a regular good visitor center type of experience. In addition, there's going to be classrooms there. When we were at the Superintendent's Conference, we learned about being green and teaching green and nature deficit disorder and all of those buzz phrases and things like that. The Little River Canyon Center, I think, will give us a great opportunity and a partnership arrangement to address those kinds of issues specifically.
People need to know about this project.
Right.
Here locally, everyone knows about it, but back home, it's still a little bit of a question in terms of what are they doing up there in Dekalb County. My position is I'm the director of what's called the Environmental Policy and Information Center, and through that office, we wear a lot of hats.
Right. How did this project get off the ground? I know it's been going on for several years now.
Yeah, several years. It's
Right.
been decades, and really, it was started back in, my involvement started back in 1989.
Wow.
I didn't have any gray hair. I mean, this was a long time ago, and I was the president of the Alabama Conservancy, and working together with other environmental groups, we really thought this was such an important area. It needed to be designated as a national park.
Right.
So my involvement started through lobbying, essentially, to turn Little River Canyon into a national park.
Right.
Working with environmental groups, Alabama Power Company, the community, and so I testified before the House, testified before the Senate, son of a gun, with the help of Tom Bevel, Congressman Bevel, and then President George Bush. We ended up in 1992 creating this national park unit.
Now, JSU is involved with this along with several other people. Tell us about the coalition that is bringing this together.
Well, you know, it's just been like the perfect storm, and all of these partners, some of whom you'll meet today, have worked together to allow for this to happen. And some of the things involve, well, maybe initially the Alabama Power Company was the top partner. And Charles McCrary, who's now the CEO of the Alabama Power Company, he and I, when we were testifying before the Senate, essentially he leaned over and whispered, saying, if this works, you know, we'd love to donate some land to create a nature center or something.
Right.
That would help the community to understand how important this canyon is. And well, we were successful. So initially 10 acres were donated to Jacksonville State University, and a little bit later on we purchased at a bargain rate, by the way, another 50 or so acres, and then recently another 7 acres. So we have a pretty good footprint up here.
Right.
Started with a property, and then after that it stemmed into a major fundraising campaign to raise the money to build this, you know, multi-million-dollar facility.
Right.